speakers. Tell us why are you running for Congress?
Well, I just think we're seeing such a fundamental shift away from the values that are consistent with first Arkansas voters and our first district of Arkansas and Arkansas in general. But I think it's pretty obvious that first district voters are traditional American values. It's not about party or affiliation. It's about just being traditional Americans. And I consider myself to be a traditional American. And I see things going on in Washington that don't fit, that don't match up with our values.
What are some of the big issues that you see affecting your district? What are some of the main things you really want to talk about?
Well, there are so many things that you could, obviously agriculture is a big issue, but what we find is that agriculture is not aligned with even a farmer at a high level right now, because they know that if we don't get fiscal policy, we don't address the insurmountable legal debt that exists right now in Washington, that you cannot have a policy downstream that gives no good agriculture policy, no good education policy, no good health care policy, no good energy policy. So all of those things are affected by that one issue, fiscal discipline. And we have no fiscal discipline in Washington. And we need to reel that in. And then we can start, once we have a grasp of that good fiscal discipline, then we can start talking about those issues downstream. But unless and until we get that spinning reined in, we're going to have bad policy all the way.
What are some of the key differences that you see between yourself and the current incumbent, Marion Barrett? You've been there for a little while. What separates you that someone would vote for you instead of Mr. Barrett?
Well, first and foremost, when I tell people I'm a traditional American values guy, I don't have to belong to a coalition to brand me as such. So by that I mean I don't belong to the Blue Dog Coalition or the Red Dog Coalition or any other coalition. I represent the values of the voters in our district, and I don't need a coalition to tell me how to vote, first and foremost. Second, if I tell you I'm going to vote a certain way, then I'm going to vote a certain way. Now, here's a case in point. Cap and trade affects everybody in the first district, affects everybody across the board. You got a pat on the back for voting against cap and trade, but what was lost in this whole equation was the fact that he voted to send it to the floor. So he voted for that legislation in conference, and then once he got a pass, he could vote against it and save his standing in the district. Now, I'm not part of this political gamesmanship that takes place in Washington. So I want to do away with that type of thing. I want to be a representative of the first district in Washington and not a representative of Washington in the first district. And I'll tell you this, since 2006, he has voted twice to put Nancy Pelosi in a position of leadership. So he has supported Nancy Pelosi just in his vote to put her in as Speaker. Second, he's voted with her 94.8% of the time. That is not consistent with what voters in the first district want.
Well, one of the hot issues everybody's talking about right now is obviously health care. They get the bill coming up to the floor this next week. What are your views on the current health care proposal, and what would you do differently?
Okay, I mean, again, we're piling more laws on when what we really have is a pretty good system that needs tweaked.
Okay.
And by being tweaked, I mean, let's identify those relevant stakeholders that really and truly don't have access to health care. Because what we've done here is we've indicted our health care system. We've indicted the quality of health care. We've told doctors, oh, you're doing surgeries unnecessarily so you can go out and pay for your Maserati or whatever. That's not true. That's not going on. What's happening is we have the best quality health care in the world, but what we have is a system that needs a little fixing. So we can do that by simple things that don't cost us a thing. Tort reform. We can put caps on lawsuits. We can impose court costs on frivolous lawsuits. We can address the rampant fraud and abuse in systems like Medicare and even in state level Medicaid, and address those costs in a way that doesn't cost the taxpayers anything, and then we can go identify that small fraction of the population that really and truly can't get health care. Now, that's such a minute fraction. I don't think it's a good idea to scrap our health system for the sake of maybe 2% of our population. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's find a solution to those issues that are driving costs up, and then address those people who truly can't get health care for whatever reason, and find a way to address those needs.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate your time. We'll certainly be watching your campaign. Thank you for talking with me.
You bet. Thank you.